The Ultimatum. In the vast chamber of a galactic council, beings from 1,000 worlds gathered, their forms as diverse as the cosmos itself. At the center stood High Counselor Zara, her crystalline body pulsing with an inner light that reflected the gravity of the situation. The air hummed with tension as she called the emergency session to order. Esteemed representatives, Zara's melodic voice resonated through the chamber. We face a crisis that threatens the very fabric of our interstellar community. The Vorax horde expands unchecked, consuming world after world. Our combined forces struggle to hold the line. A ripple of unease passed through the assembly. The Vorax, a hive-mind species driven by an insatiable hunger for resources and genetic material, had long been a threat. But never before had they posed such a dire risk to galactic stability. Counselor Engsethar, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate mechanical shell, pulsed with agitation. What of the humans? Earth has remained neutral for centuries, holding resources and technology while we bleed to maintain galactic peace. Zara's crystalline form shimmered, a sign of deep contemplation. Yes, the humans. Their neutrality has long been a point of contention. Perhaps it's time they contribute to the greater good of the galaxy. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of agreement and protest. Earth was an enigma to many in the Council. Known for their diplomacy and trade, humans had carefully maintained their neutrality through centuries of galactic conflicts. Some viewed them as cowards, others as cunning manipulators. Silence. Zara's voice cut through the din, her patience wearing thin. We will send an ultimatum to Earth. They will join our war effort against the Vorax, or face the consequences of opposing the Galactic Council. As the decision was made, none in the chamber could have predicted the chain of events they were about to set in motion. Aboard the Terran diplomatic vessel Starlight Envoy, Ambassador Elena Chen received the transmission from the Council. Her dark eyes narrowed as she read the ultimatum, a slight smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Captain," she called out, her voice calm despite the gravity of the message, "set course for Earth. It seems our time has finally come." The Starlight Envoy slipped into faster-than-light travel, carrying news that would change the course of galactic history. Back on Earth, in a hidden facility beneath the Mariana Trench, Fleet Admiral Talon stood before a vast holographic display of the galaxy. Countless pinpoints of light represented known star systems, with the territories of the Council and the Vorax horde clearly delineated. "They've made their move, sir," his aide, Commander Sarah Hawkins, reported. "The ultimatum has been delivered." Talon's weathered face remained impassive, but a glint of anticipation shone in his steel-gray eyes. "After all these years of waiting, of preparing in secret, they finally give us the excuse we needed." He turned to face the room filled with Earth's top military and political leaders. President Amara Okafor, her regal bearing befitting her position, stepped forward. "Ladies and gentlemen," she addressed the assembly, her voice rich with authority, "Operation Awakening is now in effect. May the stars have mercy on those who thought to threaten Earth." As the leaders of Earth set their long-laid plans into motion, the Galactic Council waited with bated breath for a response to their ultimatum. They expected fear, perhaps anger, or desperate pleas for negotiation. What they received instead was a simple 3-word message that would echo through the annals of galactic history. "We accept. Prepare." In the council chamber, Zara read the message aloud, her voice tinged with confusion. What does this mean? They accept just like that? Engsethar pulsed erratically, his energy form flickering with agitation. "It's a trick. It must be. The humans are trying to buy time, to negotiate from a position of strength." But Counselor Elon, an ancient being whose species had long studied the patterns of history, felt a deep sense of foreboding. "No," he rasped, his voice like dry leaves in the wind. "I fear we have gravely misunderstood the humans. This is not the response of a species caught off guard. This is the response of one that has been waiting." As the council leaders argued and speculated, humanity was already on the move. In shipyards hidden in the asteroid belts of the outer solar system, vast fleets that had been constructed in secret over centuries began to power up. In underground bases on Earth and its colonies, soldiers donned advanced powered armor and prepared for deployment. Deep within a mountain on Mars, in a chamber known only to a select few, President Okafor stood before a device that held the power to reshape the very fabric of spacetime. "Are you certain about this, Madam President?" Admiral Talon asked, standing at her side. "Once we reveal our true capabilities, there's no going back. The galaxy will never see us the same way again." Okafor's gaze remained fixed on the device, its swirling energies reflecting in her eyes. "For centuries, we've watched the Council and the Vorax tear the galaxy apart with their wars. We've seen species enslaved, planets destroyed. We stayed neutral not out of cowardice, but because we weren't ready. Now we are." She placed a hand on the activation panel, and the device thrummed to life, its energy pulsing in sync with the beating of her heart. The Council wanted to force our hand. Well, they're about to learn why you should be careful what you wish for. It's time for humanity to take its place on the galactic stage. As the device powered up, its energy rippling through subspace, every human ship and installation across the solar system received the activation signal. Cloaking fields that had hidden humanity's true military might for centuries began to drop. In orbit around Jupiter, Fleet Admiral Chen watched as her ships decloaked, revealing a vast armada that dwarfed anything the Council or the Vorax could field. "All ships," she broadcasted to her fleet, "this is Admiral Chen. The time for hiding is over. Set course for the Arcturus system. Today, we show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of." As Earth's fleets moved out, carrying with them weapons and technologies beyond the imagination of their would-be rulers, the rest of the galaxy remained blissfully unaware of the storm that was about to break upon them. In the Council chamber, Zara and her fellow leaders continued to debate and plan, confident in their superiority, unaware that their ultimatum had not cowed humanity, but had instead awakened a sleeping giant. The stage was set, humanity was on the move, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The Galactic Council had wished for Earth's participation in their war. They were about to learn the true meaning of "be careful what you wish for." The unveiling. The Arcturus system, a strategic stronghold of the Galactic Council, buzzed with activity. Warships from a dozen species patrolled the space around the system's inhabited worlds, their crews on high alert. Intelligence reports suggested that the Vorax horde was massing for an assault on this vital sector. Aboard the Council flagship Celestial Guardian, High Counselor Zara stood before a vast holographic display, her crystalline form pulsing with nervous energy. "Status report," she commanded, her voice echoing through the bridge. A Valorian officer, his blue-scaled skin shimmering under the ship's lights, responded, "No sign of Vorax activity yet, High Counselor. But we're detecting unusual energy signatures at the system's edge. They're unlike anything in our database." Before Zara could inquire further, alarms blared across the fleet. The main display shifted, showing a massive spatial distortion forming at the outskirts of the system. Zara's inner light flickered with shock as she witnessed what emerged. Ship after ship materialized from what appeared to be tears in the fabric of space itself. Sleek, predatory vessels of a design never before seen in the galaxy. At their center, a behemoth of a warship easily dwarfing the Celestial Guardian. "By the cosmic egg," Zara whispered, her usual composure shaken. "What are we witnessing?" The answer came in the form of a transmission that overrode every communication channel in the system. The holographic image of a human woman appeared, her bearing regal and commanding. "This is Fleet Admiral Elena Chen of the Terran Star Navy," she announced, her voice resonating with authority. "As per the Galactic Council's ultimatum, Earth has come to join the war effort. We stand ready to engage the Vorax threat." Stunned silence fell over the Council fleet. The humans, long believed to be a minor power confined to their home system, had arrived with a force that rivaled the combined might of the Galactic Council. Before anyone could respond, sensors across the system lit up with warnings. A massive Vorax fleet had just entered the system, their bioorganic ships swarming towards the inhabited worlds. Admiral Chen's image remained calm. It seems we've arrived just in time. Counselor Zara, with your permission, the Terran fleet will take point on this operation. It's time to show the Vorax exactly what they're dealing with. Still reeling from the shock of the humans' arrival, Zara could only nod in agreement. As the Terran ships moved into formation, their engines glowing with exotic energies, the rest of the galaxy held its breath. The true extent of humanity's power was about to be unleashed. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations as the day everything changed. Terran ships phased in and out of normal space, making them nearly impossible to target. Their weapons fired not beams of energy or projectiles, but concentrated streams of warped spacetime that simply erased portions of Vorax ships from existence. On the ground, Terran Marines in powered armor that made them walking tanks engaged Vorax swarms in close combat. Their suits, powered by miniaturized fusion reactors and equipped with energy shields that could withstand direct hits from Starship-grade weapons, tore through the Vorax like they were made of paper. From the bridge of her flagship, the TSS Prometheus, Admiral Chen directed the battle with calm precision. "Activate the Kronos protocol," she ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos of battle around her. "They continue." "Certainly. I'll now provide Part 2 of the story, The Unveiling." Part 2, The Unveiling. The Arcturus system, a strategic stronghold of the Galactic Council, buzzed with activity. Warships from a dozen species patrolled the space around the system's inhabited worlds, their crews on high alert. Intelligence reports suggested that the Vorax horde was massing for an assault on this vital sector. Aboard the Council flagship Celestial Guardian, High Counselor Zara stood before a vast holographic display, her crystalline form pulsing with nervous energy. "Status report," she commanded, her voice echoing through the bridge. A Valorian officer, his blue-scaled skin shimmering under the ship's lights, responded, "No sign of Vorax activity yet, High Counselor, but we're detecting unusual energy signatures at the system's edge. They're unlike anything in our database." Before Zara could inquire further, alarms blared across the fleet. The main display shifted, showing a massive spatial distortion forming at the outskirts of the system. Zara's inner light flickered with shock as she witnessed what emerged. Ship after ship materialized from what appeared to be tears in the fabric of space itself, sleek, predatory vessels of a design never before seen in the galaxy. At their center, a behemoth of a warship easily dwarfing the Celestial Guardian. "By the cosmic egg," Zara whispered, her usual composure shaken. "What are we witnessing?" The answer came in the form of a transmission that overrode every communication channel in the system. The holographic image of a human woman appeared, her bearing regal and commanding. "This is Fleet Admiral Elena Chen of the Terran Star Navy," she announced, her voice resonating with authority. "As per the Galactic Council's ultimatum, Earth has come to join the war effort. We stand ready to engage the Vorax threat." Stunned silence fell over the Council fleet. The humans, long believed to be a minor power confined to their home system, had arrived with a force that rivaled the combined might of the Galactic Council. Before anyone could respond, sensors across the system lit up with warnings. A massive Vorax fleet had just entered the system, their bioorganic ships swarming towards the inhabited worlds. Admiral Chen's image remained calm. "It seems we've arrived just in time. Counselor Zara, with your permission, the Terran fleet will take point on this operation. It's time to show the Vorax exactly what they're dealing with." Still reeling from the shock of the humans' arrival, Zara could only nod in agreement. As the Terran ships moved into formation, their engines glowing with exotic energies, the rest of the galaxy held its breath. The true extent of humanity's power was about to be unleashed. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations as the day everything changed. Terran ships phased in and out of normal space, making them nearly impossible to target. Their weapons fired not beams of energy or projectiles, but concentrated streams of warped spacitine that simply erased portions of Vorax ships from existence. On the ground, Terran Marines in powered armor that made them walking tanks engaged Vorax swarms in close combat. Their suits, powered by miniaturized fusion reactors and equipped with energy shields that could withstand direct hits from Starship-grade weapons, tore through the Vorax like they were made of paper. From the bridge of her flagship, the TSS Prometheus, Admiral Chen directed the battle with calm precision. "Activate the Kronos Protocol," she ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos of battle around her. At her command, several Terran ships broke formation, moving to strategic points around the battlefield. As they reached their designated positions, they activated devices that warped the local flow of time. Entire sections of the Vorax fleet found themselves moving in slow motion, easy prey for the Terran weapons. Aboard the Celestial Guardian, Zara and the other council representatives watched in awe and not a little fear as the humans dismantled the Vorax fleet with ease. How is this possible? Councillor Engsathar pulsed erratically. "We've been fighting the Vorax for decades, and the humans just outclassed them completely," Zara finished, her voice barely a whisper, "and us along with them." As the last Vorax ship fell, an uneasy silence settled over the system. The Terran fleet, barely scratched from the encounter, resumed their perfect formation around Admiral Chen's flagship. Chen's image once again appeared on the Council's screens. "The immediate threat has been neutralized," she reported, as casually as if she were discussing the weather. "We stand ready to assist in any cleanup operations and to discuss our further involvement in this conflict." Zara, still struggling to process what she had just witnessed, managed to respond. "Thank you, Admiral Chen. Your assistance was most impressive. Perhaps we should convene to discuss this new development." Chen nodded, a small smile playing at her lips. "Of course, High Counselor. We have much to discuss about the future of this galaxy." As arrangements were made for an emergency council session, news of the battle spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Humanity, long dismissed as a minor player in galactic affairs, had in one stroke established themselves as perhaps the most powerful force in known space. Reactions varied wildly. Some species looked to humanity with hope, seeing them as potential liberators from the Vorax threat. Others viewed them with fear and suspicion, wondering if they had simply traded one would-be conqueror for another. On Earth, President Okafor received the news of the victory with grim satisfaction. In her office deep beneath the White House, she turned to Admiral Talon. "It's done then," she said, her voice heavy with the weight of responsibility. "There's no going back now." Talon nodded, his expression thoughtful. "Indeed, Madam President. The galaxy now knows the truth about humanity's capabilities. The question is, what do we do with this power?" Okafor's gaze drifted to a holographic display of the Milky Way, countless stars twinkling in the darkness. "We do what we've always done, Admiral. We adapt, we grow, and we strive to be better than those who came before us." She stood, straightening her jacket with a gesture that spoke of determination. "The Council sought to use us as pawns in their war. The Vorax saw us as nothing more than their next conquest. It's time to show them both that humanity is no one's pawn and no one's prey." As the Terran fleet secured the Arcturus system and prepared for the next phase of their emergence onto the galactic stage, one thing was clear: the sleeping giant had awakened, and the universe would never be the same. The Galactic Council had wished for Earth's participation in their war. Now, as they faced the reality of humanity's true power, they were beginning to realize the full implications of the old human saying, "Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it." The counter-strike. In the weeks following the Battle of Arcturus, the galactic political landscape shifted dramatically. The Galactic Council, once confident in its role as the dominant power, found itself grappling with a new reality, one where humanity held the technological and military edge. Admiral Elena Chen stood before the hastily convened War Council. her crisp Terran uniform a stark contrast to the varied attire of the alien representatives. The chamber, located on a neutral space station at the fringes of Council space, hummed with tension. "Ladies, gentlemen, and distinguished beings," Chen began, her voice carrying easily across the room, "the Vorax threat is far from over. While we've dealt them a significant blow, our intelligence suggests they're regrouping for a major counteroffensive." High Counselor Zara, her crystalline form dulled with stress, leaned forward. "And what do you propose, Admiral? Your forces have proven formidable, but the Vorax are nothing if not adaptable." Chen nodded, her expression grave. "Indeed, which is why we need to strike now, before they have a chance to analyze and counter our technologies. We propose a series of coordinated attacks on key Vorax strongholds, culminating in an assault on their home system." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices. The idea of taking the fight directly to the Vorax was unprecedented. For centuries, the galaxy had been on the defensive, barely holding the line against the voracious swarm. Councillor Engsar's energy form pulsed erratically. "This is madness. Even with your advanced technology, an assault on the Vorax core worlds would be suicide." "With all due respect, Councillor," Chen replied, her tone level, "it's that kind of thinking that has allowed the Vorax to expand unchecked for so long. We have the means to end this threat once and for all. The question is, do we have the will?" As the debate raged on, far across the galaxy, the Vorax hive mind was reaching a similar conclusion. In the pulsating, organic chambers of their capital ship, the Devourers convened. First among equals, the closest thing the Vorax had to a leader, addressed the assembly. Its thoughts, a mixture of psionic impulses and chemical signals, reverberated through the gathered swarm. "The prey has revealed itself to be a predator," it communicated. "This humanity possesses technologies that threaten our very existence. We must adapt. We must evolve. We must consume." A plan began to form in the collective consciousness of the Vorax. They would launch a massive assault, not on the heavily defended core worlds of the Council or Earth, but on the poorly protected frontier colonies. There, they would gather the genetic material and technologies needed to counter this new threat. Back on Earth, President Okafor received the intelligence reports with growing concern. "They're going to target our outer colonies," she stated, her voice tight with controlled anger. Admiral Talon nodded grimly. "It's what we would do in their position. Hit the soft targets, gather intelligence, and adapt." Okafor's eyes narrowed. "Then we need to be there waiting for them. Initiate Operation Firewall." Across human space, a flurry of activity erupted. Fleets redeployed, colonies were fortified, and a new weapon, long held in reserve, was prepared for its debut. The Vorax struck with typical swiftness and brutality. A massive fleet, larger than any seen before, materialized near the human colony of New Eden. But instead of the easy prey they expected, they found themselves facing a prepared and determined enemy. The battle that ensued was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Terran ships, their hulls gleaming with energy shields, met the Vorax head-on. New weapons were unveiled, gravitational singularity projectors that created miniature black holes, tearing apart Vorax bioships, and quantum disruptors that severed the psionic links binding the Vorax swarms together. On the surface of New Eden, civilians watched in awe as the sky lit up with the fury of the space battle. But their wonder turned to fear as Vorax drop pods breached the planet's defenses, disgorging swarms of ravenous warriors. It was here, in the close-quarters combat on the ground, that humanity revealed another surprise. From hidden bunkers emerged squads of cyborg soldiers, humans merged with advanced AI and cybernetic enhancements. These hybrids moved with impossible speed and precision that integrated weapon systems cutting swaths through the Vorax ranks. Leading the defense was Commander Sarah Hawkins, her body now more machine than flesh. "Hold the line," she roared, her voice amplified by external speakers. "Humanity stands unbowed." As the battle raged across New Eden and in the space above, news of the conflict spread across the galaxy. The Galactic Council, caught off guard by the scale of the Vorax assault, scrambled to mobilize their forces. But it was on a small, unremarkable moon in a nearby system that the true turning point of the battle, and perhaps the war, was about to unfold. There, hidden beneath the cratered surface, lay humanity's ultimate weapon, the Nexus. In a secure command center, President HFY gave the order. Activate the Nexus. Let's show the Vorax what happens when they threaten our people. With a surge of power that momentarily dimmed the lights across half the solar system, the Nexus came online. A massive beam of concentrated energy shot forth, tearing a hole in the fabric of space-time itself. Through this artificial wormhole poured a flood of exotic particles, engulfing the Vorax fleet. The effect was catastrophic. Vorax ships found their biotechnology turning against them, their very molecular structure destabilizing. In a matter of minutes, the mighty invasion force was reduced to drifting debris. As the dust settled and the full extent of the victory became clear, a stunned silence fell across the galaxy. Humanity had not just repelled the Vorax assault, they had utterly decimated it. In the council chambers, the alien representatives watched the battle reports with a mixture of awe and fear. Zara turned to her fellow councillors, her crystalline form pulsing with agitation. "We thought we were recruiting an ally," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Instead, we may have invited our own doom." The battle was over, but its repercussions were just beginning to be felt. Humanity had revealed the full extent of its technological superiority, and in doing so, had irrevocably altered the balance of power in the galaxy. As Chen's words echoed through the council chamber and across the stars, one thing became abundantly clear: the era of human neutrality was over. Whether as saviors or conquerors, humanity was now a force that would shape the destiny of the galaxy for generations to come. The sleeping giant was not just awake, it was striding across the cosmos, and the universe trembled in its wake. Certainly, here's part 4 of the story, The Turning Point. Part 4, The Turning Point. The aftermath of the Battle of New Eden sent shockwaves across the galaxy. Humanity's overwhelming victory against the Vorax had reshaped the political landscape overnight. As news of the Nexus weapon spread, fear and awe rippled through every corner of known space. In the Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council, an emergency session was underway. Representatives from hundreds of species argued vehemently, their voices rising in a cacophony of different languages and tones. High Councillor Zara raised her crystalline arms, calling for order. "We cannot ignore the fact that Earth now possesses weaponry capable of altering the very fabric of space-time," she declared, her voice resonating through the chamber. "The question before us is clear. Do we embrace humanity as our saviors, or do we view them as a threat greater than the Vorax?" As the debate raged on, a new crisis was unfolding at the edge of known space. A lone Vorax scout ship, having escaped the carnage at New Eden, limped towards the galactic core, its mission, to deliver crucial intelligence to the Vorax hive mind. Aboard the Terran flagship Prometheus, Admiral Chen received the alert. Her eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical display. "That scout can't be allowed to reach Vorax space," she muttered. "The information it carries could undo everything we've accomplished." She turned to her second-in-command, Captain Ravi Sharma. "Prep a strike team. We're going to board that ship and retrieve its data core. I want to know exactly what the Vorax have learned about our capabilities." As the Prometheus gave chase, tensions were rising back on Earth. In the underground war room beneath Geneva, President HFY faced a rebellion within her own cabinet. The Nexus was meant to be a deterrent, not a first-strike weapon. Defense Minister Liang slammed his fist on the table. "By using it so openly, we've painted a target on every human world." Okafor's eyes flashed with anger. "And what would you have had me do, Thomas? Allow New Eden to fall? Watch our people be consumed by the Vorax?" Before Liang could respond, Admiral Talon interrupted. "Madame President, we're receiving a priority transmission from Admiral Chen. The Vorax. They're not what we thought they were. On the main screen, Chen's face appeared, her expression grim. Madame President, members of the cabinet, what I'm about to tell you changes everything we thought we knew about this war. She took a deep breath before continuing. We've successfully boarded the Vorax scout ship and accessed its data core. The Vorax, they're not invaders, they're refugees. A stunned silence fell over the war room. Okafor leaned forward, her voice barely above a whisper. Explain, Admiral. The Vorax home galaxy is being consumed by something they call the Hunger, Chen continued. An extragalactic threat that devours entire star systems. The Vorax have been desperately searching for a way to stop it, consuming worlds and species in an attempt to evolve a solution. The implications of this revelation were staggering. The war that had raged for centuries was based on a fundamental misunderstanding. The Vorax, long seen as mindless devourers, were fighting for their very survival. As the human leadership grappled with this new information, events were unfolding in Vorax space that would once again shift the course of the conflict. In the pulsating chambers of the Vorax HFY ship, First Among Equals received the data transmission from the scout ship. The information about the Nexus weapon and its capabilities sent waves of fear and excitement through the collective consciousness. At last, First Among Equals communicated to the swarm, "We have found a power great enough to challenge the Hunger. We must seize this technology, not to conquer, but to save our species, to save all species." The Vorax began to mass their forces for one final desperate assault, not on the worlds of the Galactic Council or Earth, but on the Hunger itself. Back in the council chambers, the debate was reaching a fever pitch when an unexpected visitor arrived. A holographic projection of a Vorax appeared in the center of the room, causing a wave of panic and confusion. "Please," the Vorax communicated, its thoughts translated into words, "we come not to threaten, but to plead. Our enemy is your enemy. The Hunger approaches, and only together do we stand a chance of survival." As the council representatives looked on in shock, the hologram expanded, showing a visualization of the Hunger, a vast, dark entity consuming entire galaxies in its wake. On the Prometheus, Admiral Chen watched the proceedings with a mixture of hope and trepidation. "The board has been reset," she murmured. "The real war is just beginning." In the Geneva war room, President Okafor stood, her decision made. "Contact the Council and the Vorax leadership," she ordered. "It's time we all sat down at the same table. We face a threat to all life in the universe. Old enmities must be set aside." As preparations began for an unprecedented summit between humans, the Galactic Council and the Vorax, a new sense of purpose spread through the galaxy. The conflict that had defined interstellar relations for centuries was transforming into something far larger and more significant. Humanity, so recently revealed as a slumbering giant, now found itself thrust into the role of mediator and potential savior. The technologies they had developed in secret, the weapons they had unleashed, might hold the key to facing the Hunger. As representatives from across the galaxy converged for the summit, one thing became clear: the future of not just their galaxy, but of all galaxies, hung in the balance. The true test of humanity's strength and wisdom was about to begin. In the face of an existential threat that dwarfed all previous conflicts, ancient enemies would have to become allies. The galaxy stood on the precipice of a new era, one that would be defined not by war between species, but by the united stand of all life against the encroaching void. The turning point had arrived, and with it, the destiny of the universe itself was at stake, certainly. Here's the final part of our story, Part 5, The New Order. Part 5, The New Order. The Grand Conclave, as it came to be known, was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. In a vast, neutral space station orbiting a dying star, representatives from every major galactic power gathered. Humans, members of the Galactic Council, and even the Vorax sat side by side, united by the existential threat looming on the horizon. President Amara Okafor stood at the center of the assembly, her presence commanding attention from beings of all species. "We stand at a crossroads," she began, her voice firm and resolute. "For too long, we've been divided by fear, misunderstanding, and old grudges. But now, faced with annihilation, we must forge a new path together." The chamber fell silent as a holographic projection of the hunger filled the room. Its vastness was terrifying, a cosmic horror that devoured light itself. First among equals of the Vorax stepped forward, its thoughts translated for all to hear. For eons, we consumed and adapted, seeking a way to combat this threat, it communicated. "We now see that our methods were flawed. In our desperation, we became that which we sought to destroy." High Counselor Zara's crystalline form shimmered as she spoke next. "The Council, too, must acknowledge its failures. We saw only the threat before us, never questioning why the Vorax acted as they did. Our short-sightedness has cost countless lives." Admiral Chen, representing Earth's military, addressed the assembly. "Humanity's path has been one of secrecy and preparation. We developed our technologies in isolation, fearing the very cooperation that now offers our only hope of survival. It's time we shared our knowledge for the benefit of all." Over the next several days, plans were forged, alliances cemented, and a new galactic order began to take shape. The Terran Nexus technology, combined with Vorax bioengineering and the diverse scientific knowledge of the Council races, offered a glimmer of hope against the hunger. A decision was made to establish a united front, the Galactic Defense Coalition. This new body would coordinate the combined military might of all species against the coming threat. Admiral Chen was appointed as its first supreme commander, her experience and strategic acumen recognized by all. But it wasn't just military matters that were addressed. A new era of open technological exchange was initiated. Humanity's advanced AI systems were merged with Vorax hive mind algorithms, creating a galaxy-wide early warning system. Council scientists worked alongside human researchers to expand the capabilities of the Nexus, turning it from a weapon into a tool for manipulating space-time on a cosmic scale. As the conclave neared its end, a sense of cautious optimism pervaded the station. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy was united in purpose. President Okafor stood once more before the assembly to deliver the closing address. "Today, we embark on a journey into the unknown," she declared. "The road ahead will be fraught with challenges we can scarcely imagine. But we face them not as separate species, not as rivals or enemies, but as a united galaxy." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the diverse gathering. "Let it be known that on this day, we chose hope over fear, unity over division, and life over extinction. Together, we will face the hunger, and together we will prevail." As the conclave concluded and the representatives departed, the gears of the new galactic order began to turn. Fleets were reorganized, resources reallocated, and a massive evacuation of worlds in the hunger's projected path was initiated. On Earth, the mood was one of determined focus. Factories that once produced weapons of war now churned out components for massive space-time manipulation devices. The Nexus on the Moon was expanded, becoming the hub of a galaxy-spanning network designed to detect and counter the hunger's advance. In Vorax space, a transformation was underway. With access to new technologies and freed from the constant pressure of finding new worlds to consume, the Vorax began to rediscover aspects of their culture long lost to survival's necessity. Their abilities to adapt and evolve, once feared, became a valued asset in the fight against the hunger. The Galactic Council, once the dominant political force, evolved into a forum for interspecies cooperation and cultural exchange. Knowledge and resources flowed freely between worlds, fostering a new age of innovation and understanding. As months turned to years, the galaxy prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Probes sent into the void between galaxies tracked the hunger's approach, each report bringing a mix of dread and determination to those who received them. Finally, the day arrived. On the bridge of the GDC flagship Hope's Vanguard, Admiral Chen stood before a vast array of holographic displays. Representatives from every species in the coalition surrounded her, each bringing unique insights and abilities to the coming battle. "All fleets report ready, Admiral," Captain Sharma announced, his voice steady despite the tension. Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the swirling darkness approaching at the edge of the galactic arm. "Then let's remind this universe why life always finds a way," she said, her voice carrying to every ship, every station, every world in the United Galaxy. "All units, commence Operation Eternal Light." As the combined forces of the galaxy surged forward to meet the hunger, the future hung in the balance. The outcome was uncertain, the stakes unimaginably high. But one thing was clear: this was no longer a story of humanity alone, or of any single species. It was the story of life itself, united against the dark. The sleeping giant that was humanity had not only awakened, but had roused the entire galaxy with it. Together, they faced the greatest challenge of their existence, and together, they would write the next chapter in the cosmic story, one of unity, perseverance, and hope. As the first shots were fired, and the battle that would determine the fate of not just one, but countless galaxies began, a new age dawned. Whatever the outcome, the galaxy would never be the same. The new order had begun its ultimate test, and the universe watched with bated breath.